If you are a Ruby fan and you want to recreate the aura breaking effect, then you are at the right place. First of all, let's add a plane and we'll work on this plane. We'll go to the geometry node tabs, we'll create a new geometry mode and we'll disconnect this output. We'll take the meshes of our models. Here is the pool guy and we'll plug in on the geometry nodes. We can hide the mesh. You'll work on it. Then on these guys, we'll put an extrude mesh, put it on the socket, and on the offset, as you can see, this is way too big. We'll set this to 0.001. So it's slightly bigger. And we can also add here a set material. And we'll put it in there. Then here we'll create a new material. We'll call that aura effect. And here we'll add the aura effect we just created. Then let's go to the shader editors. We have the aura effect here and we'll delete the principal's BSDF. Let's add an emission shaders and let's add a transparent BSDF. Let's mix each one to this. Very important, go to the transparent BSDF, tap N or go here. You go to options and on blend mode you put alpha blend so that we can have a transparencies. Then here on the emission, on the color, we'll add a color ramp. We'll switch to constant and we'll add another socket here. And the first one we'll put it on transparent. Then we take this color and we put this on the FAC. As you can see now there is nothing, but if you put something that appear. The black color here you can choose whichever will be the color of your aura. Then on the color ramp we'll add two texture. We'll first put a Musgrave texture, put here on the hybrid multifractal. Then let's duplicate this. Here on the scale we'll put a slightly, we'll put a more scale here and more details. And here we'll put more details and 0 to gain. Let's subtract the first one with the second one with a math node. To tap subtract here, you put here and you put on the color ramp and as you can see, we begin to have our aura effect. As you can see, you can switch this, you can move this to choose whatever effect you want. And then here on the first one, if you have the node wrangler, you can tap Ctrl T to create this one. Let's choose object to vector. And as you can see, this is already good. Let's put also the vector to the second vector. And then here on the scale, to animate this, we'll use a math node. And here on the value, you can put a value for better control. And here you can tap frame by 25. And now if you tap on the control bar, you can see that the aura is animated. Also don't forget when you go here with EIV, put bloom and put more to have some effect. And that's it, our aura shield is working. And you can see if we unhide our pool guide, we have this brilliant aura effect. And here, if you want, but you can change the color to whichever you want. Now that we have our aura shield, we'll use this principle to create the particle system for our aura breaking. First, we'll disconnect the aura shield from the root output. We'll reuse here the object info mode. Let's put on relative. First, we'll use a distribute point on faces. Then on the point, we'll use a transform node, and on this transform we can translate the movement of our particles. And let's scale a little bit the X, and then we'll use an instance on point, and on this instance first we'll add a curve line, and as you can see we have lines here. We want this line to move, so we'll add a trim curve node. So when we put this, we can select when the line goes up, goes down. We want those lines to rotate, so here on the rotation we'll add a rotate Euler here, and then on the rotate by we'll add a random value. So as you can see, every point is moving into a different direction. Then here on the random value, we'll set our minimum to minus 0.2. The next is minus 0.6 and minus 1. Then on the max, we'll put on 0.2, 0.5, and 2.1. And as you can see, when you use the trim curve, now we have those lines that go up and down. Now that you have this line, we can change here the curve line to a Bezier segment. With that, as you can see, it will be quite different. So here on the Bezier, we'll choose here 0, 0, 0 to the start, so each point starts from 0. I put something like 0.9. On the y-axis I put something like 0.1, and on the z-axis I put something like 1.1, and on the x-end section let's put 0, and here let's put something like this. You can go as far as high as you want. You can. Then now that we have this effect with the line, we'll change the line with the UV sphere. So here we'll duplicate again the instance on point here, and here on instance we'll plug an UV sphere. As you can see, this is way too big, so we have to scale it a bit. We'll make something very small, like 0.0003. We have a really tiny particle here, so we can't really see them. But if here we add a set material mode here, then we create another one here. We'll call that particles. We'll use here on the principal BSDF switch to emission BSDF. Here we'll say something like this orange. Let's put a lot of strengths. When you return a set material, you choose particle, and you'll see that we have those little particles. And if 0.00.3 is too small, you can't put a better one radius. It's your choice. As you can see, we have our point. And if you see that, when we move the endpoint and the start point, you can see that we have two particles that are moving. For that, to delete those ones, it's simple. You go here to the selection, you create an endpoint selection, and on the start sides you put this to 0. So that's mean now when we move here on the trim curve, there is only the last part, and we have our effect. Now if we switch back our poor guys, if here on the set material we put on a joint geometry, and we plug in this one and this one, now as you can see, since we have violet, let's put violet now. If we use the trim curve, we can see here It's falling back. It's a little small, so let's put something bigger, like 0.0.9, and now we have our effect. And also here on the density, you can change how many particles you want. So now that we have our RWBY shield and the particles, let's add some controls. So we'll take this grouped input here, and we'll add here a switch node. We'll put the switch node here to true. We'll take the second circuit here on the switch, and here we have switch, and when we create 1, we have your RWBY shield appear. And then we can keyframe here by clicking here to choose when we want to have the RWBY shield. We can do exactly the same process for here the particles. So let's duplicate the switch. Let's put here. Let's put on true. Let's take this and let's put here on switch, and then particle appears, particle disappears. Here, go to group. The first switch here is for the RWBY shield. So here on the name we can name RWBY shield. Let's do the same for the second switch, and let's do particles on, no, off on here. So we can have this control, and then here on the trim curve we can take this one here. We do the same, and we put this to the end point. You can rename this point on particle this person. So now that we have this dispersion, when we are here, we can change. And now let's play with the translation. We can hear on the translation, so when this point move to the people, will take this translation, will add a combine x, y, z, and then here we do the same. We can put something on the y axis, and we can control this, and if you want, you can also put something on the z axis. Again, here we can change the name. We can change the name on particle offset y, and the last one to particle offset z. This is it. If you now return here, we have here on the geometry nodes over RWBY, we can activate the RWBY shield. If you want to move the RWBY shield, you can return here on the shader editors, and you can here on the strengths modify when this has to gloom. As you can see, here a lot of gloom, we have no gloom, and here you can choose the particle when they appear. You can choose when they disappear. You can put slightly put this back and put this on. Combine every single of them, and you will have your RWBY effect.